Alright, I'm back. Painting up different colors of all-clad. I put some on the back too. I was mixing them. Again, you saw that segment a second ago. I want to see how light blocking it is. So I got the green laser pointer out. I'm going to kill this light here. I want to see if that green laser pointer is able to penetrate this. And it is in areas. Now, let's explain what's going on, why it's able to penetrate down there and up here and not through the center. Through the center right here, I painted a flat black, then a gloss black. Here and here I did not. I put some chrome on there and mixed colors. You'll see that in the video. The reason this is here is I took some micro scale micro mask, and put it on here. I wanted to see if it could survive the all-clad painting process and if it would mask for me. So we're peeling that off on camera. And it looks like it survives. Okay, I was trying to do a fine line over here, and it looks like that survived as well. And I'm also peeling up more than I bargained for. That was something I was kind of worried about. Reason being is I want to use this process to paint the upper stage. And I got to know if how well it's going to work and if I'm going to damage something before I begin. I'm trying to get my trusty old X-Acto knives out, the ones I've had since I was 10 or 11, to see if I can get under this and peel this. There we go. So I think it's going to work as long as you're really careful about how you peel up the micro mark, because that looks like it worked just fine. And that green laser's only shining through where the mask was. That's what I'm looking forward to doing on the windows of the upper stage. Okay, you'll probably be able to see it better like this. Yeah, you can. You can see all sorts of backward scatter there, but you can see it just fine this way. So that looks like that's a success. Okay. Other things I'm doing, I need to cut out the center of these caps. So I took some PVA glue and just glued them to the wood. And I know I'll be able to clean that off. Some water, let them soak in some warm water and leave the PVA glue off. But by gluing them to this piece of board, I can now take it out to my drill press and I can control very accurately how big a hole gets drilled in the center of each one of these, instead of just randomly carving, because I want it to go to a certain extent and stop with the hole. Because the clear domes go over the top of these, and these go over the top of the engine bay right there, and the clear domes mount to this. So I got to get it carved out just right so the clear domes still glue on there the way I need them to. Last little bit, and we're done with this segment. This building's windows. Okay, I'm having a lot of trouble squaring them up, so I'm cheating. Let's zoom in and see if we can. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing very well there. Your eyes are not deceiving you. There is brass in some of those windows. What I did is I took a square piece of brass tubing, and I have a little cut-off saw I bought. And what I did is I cut the brass square tubing into little pieces, and I'm filing and sanding down these pieces so they fit those windows. And what that's going to do is two things for me. It's going to give the windows a framed look, which is what I want. Okay? I want them to look like they have a window frame in there. Second, it is going to square them up. And then all I have to do is put some putty around them and sand, and they're going to look really neat and clean and squared away. So I just need to finish up the other 5 of them. That's done. I'm going to do the same thing on these 6 windows here. I still need to file them out bigger so that the brass tubing I have for that size will fit as well. Okay? Once it's done with that, I can start working on the command center and getting it all squared up and done the way I want it. That won't take too long. So there's progress at the moment. I will be back soon to show you exactly what I've done and what I've completed. This should be put together by tomorrow evening, I'm hoping. Well, it won't be. I got too much to do, but within the next 2 days that should be completed and starting to get its primer coat. And I'll discuss that when I get there. Thanks for watching.
Okay, what we have here is the base for the Mercury 9. It's actually cabinet grade plywood. You can see from here, and it is very smooth and very well finished. I sanded it and then I primered it. I'm going to explain why. When I did the Godzilla diorama last year, I did not seal the wood on it. And then I used some paper mache and some resin for water. And the paper mache, the moisture from it warped the base. And it's one of the biggest disappointments I have in that diorama is the thing is not flat and level anymore. It's very warped, and I used a pretty decent piece of wood for the base. This is like 1/2-inch plywood. Instead, I've got some MFD right there, and the MDF, whatever that is. I'm sure someone will correct me. The reason I went with the plywood, and I could have went with this stuff, is it was only 50 cents more for a 4x4 sheet of this than it was for that. I had that in the garage and didn't know it. If I'd known that was in the garage, I never would have bought this. But I went with the plywood because it was just a teeny bit more expensive, and I knew it was going to hold up better. And I've sealed it with automotive primer, so I shouldn't have to worry about putting spackle or paper mache or something on top of it. Okay? Now, I'll be back in a second. I want to go look at something, show you guys something else, but it's not right here. Okay, over here what we have is the side of the base. I'm using some molding. You should have seen the video on my surprise present for Nellie by now. Okay, here's a cross section of the molding. This came in 8-foot strips. What I did is I bought an 8-foot strip, took a miter saw, and cut some 45-degree angles on the end of it. Right now what's happening is I'm gluing this piece of plywood, spare extra plywood I have, on the edges of all the pieces. And the reason I'm doing that, and there's wax paper down, so there'll be no glue on my kitchen countertop. You know, Nellie's out of town right now. She's going to see this video and cringe, and I know it, and I'll hear about it, but you know, what she doesn't know won't hurt her, is what someone said, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. Besides, she knows I'm working on all this. Anyhow, I'm gluing these on here. I'm making sure they're flat and level across the bottom, and then that plywood I just showed you a second ago is going to rest on top of it. It's going to give me about an 1/8-inch lip to fill with groundwork. Maybe a little bit more, somewhere between an 1/8 inch and a 1/4 inch lip to fill with groundwork. This thing's 1/350 scale, so I don't need to do a whole heck of a lot of groundwork on this. I just don't. So this will give me the room to do that with. And then I'm going to come in with some spackle this time. I'm using some lightweight spackle. I've seen a lot of people using that stuff for the groundwork. And then I'll fill it in with some lightweight spackle, get it leveled and all sorts of other stuff. Okay. I do plan on using a varnish to finish off the edges of this thing to make it look really pretty. One more thing I need to do before I bolt it all together is I got to take it out in the garage and drill a hole for power, so that I have a hole in this to get power through, and that hole has to be in this thickness right here, probably on the edge right here, so that I can get power through to the base. I'm going to use a wall wart for power. No batteries. This batteries would fit under here, but that's just going to be ridiculous to power this with batteries. Since I'm using 9-volt, I'd have to use like 8 9-volt batteries, and I'd end up replacing them every week or so. And I just don't want to do that. With a wall wart, I can plug this thing and leave it for 6 years before I have to worry about those LEDs burning out. I have to worry about heat buildup, but that's another story. That's why I won't leave it on 24/7. Okay, and I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of heat buildup with the way I've designed this thing. There's not a lot of LEDs that will actually be in the model. They'll all be under the base. Anyhow, so you can see what I'm doing with the base. I'll be back with an update soon because I'm going to start gluing in about 2 hours. I can undo these clamps and start gluing these edges together. It'll be just like Nellie's present. Okay? Except for these are a much tighter fit than Nellie's present was, so I expect some trouble getting the base to fit into this once it's glued up. And I'll have to be careful. Another thing I'm going to do, and I learned this on Nellie's present, is I'm going to put some staples in the bottom of this. Once I get these glued up like this, I'm going to put a staple down here in the corner, bracing across the corner. I'm going to need to do something because when I put the board in here for this one, yeah, this is all glued together. This gets varnished tomorrow. Or maybe tonight. I might actually varnish this tonight. One of these corners came unglued, so I had to reglue it with some clamps and stuff. I think this came out really nice. It's a really nice little tray. She'll probably not use it for something other than holding rocks if I know her. But I built it to hold rocks, to give her some rocks. Someplace to hold her rock collection. Alright, I'm going to go. I'm going to go start working on the Mercury 9 instead of the base while this is drying. I'm actually reached a good point in the Mercury 9, so I'm going to go get a few things done on it because I can start building really quick now. Because the seams are done. Well, they're not 100% done. I just need to do some very light finishing sanding, and then the seams are done, which means the thing's just going to slap together and I can start concentrating on the command center instead of the Mercury 9 itself. I'll be back to show you that in a few minutes, but I'm going to do something else first. So we're going to go out to the garage and we're going to use the drill press. Okay, we're here at the mighty drill press in the garage. Okay, my workbench is a bit messy because we're working on moving and things get disarrayed when you're doing that. We're actually boxing up about 50% of our possessions and putting them in storage so we can sell the house. So as we clean out rooms, things are just getting scattered and disorganized. Plus we got a mighty pile of boxes here to move with. Table saw, miter saw is hidden under the boxes. Okay, packing peanuts, cat carrier because my cats are obnoxiously large. Anyhow, what I'm here to do tonight is drill out the center of these. They're glued to this piece of board with some PVA because I know I can break the PVA free with some water. Okay, and I got to drill out the center of these fairly far. And I glued them to the board so I don't have to try to hold this with that drill bit spinning and mess up my fingers. I can hold the board. Okay, and that PVA should hold it well enough while I'm drilling it out. We'll find out. I'm going to take an index drill bit set, and I've got about 4 different index drill bit sets back here. Okay, I'm going to pick this one out because this is the biggest index set I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly just increase the size of the drill bit until I got the hole as big as I want. I mean, I'm just going to step it up from one size to the next to the next. No rushing, no hurries, no nothing. That way I can keep the hole centered and I'll get it all done. I'm not going to videotape this part. I'll just come with intermediate results because this is just, you know, you turn on the drill press, you spin this down, it lowers the drill bit, you raise it. Change the bit. I mean, if you guys want to watch that, that's fine. Just tell me, and next time I will put that in a video. But for right now, I don't want to videotape that. Just letting you know how I'm doing this and what I'm doing. Okay? So I will be back with an intermediate step to let you see how things are going. You know, I thought I was being smart gluing that on with PVA glue, and first drill bit said, I'm having none of that, and it just tore it right off the PVA glue. So it looks like I'm going to get some super glue. We'll try the other ones real quick and see if I get the similar result. If I do, I'm going to be at this quite a bit because I can't hold this and drill it. I'm too afraid of drilling my fingers. It just doesn't feel safe to me. So I'll come up with some way of doing this. Super glue will work, or CA will work, because I can use acetone to release it. Not acetone, fingernail polish remover that's acetone based to release it without eating the plastic too badly. So let's see what happens. I'll be back. Okay, I don't think I was too crazy because one of them held, 2 didn't. So 2 out of 3 did what I expected. I did not do what I expected. 1 out of 3 did. So I think I'm going to try something else because I need to get these holes drilled. We will see what I come up with. I might use a pair of pliers because I got plenty of those on the wall to hold it while I'm drilling. As long as I'm careful, that should be fine, because I am not going to use my fingers to hold that. I do not need to cut a finger up with a drill bit. I'll be back later. Okay, holding it with needle nose pliers is working, so I'm just going to keep you holding it with these and slowly increase the size of the holes. I also turn the parts over, and that seems to be working better too, which is the proper side to do it from anyhow, so I can see how big of a lip I'm leaving. I need to drill this out fairly large, but not too large. I got to leave about a 1/16 of an inch lip around the outside of that part to support the clear dome that goes on the top. So let me get back at it. You can see I've made progress. The pliers method is working, but then I thought, why not drill a hole in this the same size as those? So I got my biggest drill bit out, this guy. I have some bigger ones over here, but they're much bigger. You know, I've got these hole saws. I got this Forstner and another hole saw. They're all way too big. I got a couple of spade bits. The spade bits are all too big. I think this one's too big too. Actually, that one's about the right size when you look at it. It's just a teeny bit too big. I don't like using the spade bits. I really don't. And I need a bigger piece of wood if I'm going to use a spade bit. That indention is going to help. It's not quite big enough, but it's going to help me keep them centered and held in place. So I'm just going to go with that for right now. I'll report back on how that works in a minute. Alright, I got these about as big as I'm going to get them with the drill press. That one started stressing the plastic too much. I went ahead and took the spade bit and drilled a hole, and they fit in the hole a little loose. So 5/8 inch is not their diameter. They're a little bit smaller than 5/8 inch. And I know the big bit here is a 1/2 inch, so they're somewhere between 1/2 inch and 5/8 inch, which I doubt many people are going to have that size drill bit laying around. Okay, it's like 9/16 of an inch drill bit. I don't have one. I know I don't in my other sets. So what I'm going to do is just take them inside, get a rat tail file, and start filing on them until I get them wobbled out the way I want. I'm going to shut the drill press down for the night. I got pretty far with the drill press anyhow. One problem though is one of these is not centered properly, and that worries me a bit too. And I have to be careful because, again, the plastic's thin. If I'm not careful right now, I'm going to overdo it. So I'm going to do it with a file. Let me see if I got a big file here. No, I don't have a file, like a proper size file. I might stop at a tool store on the way home. These are the two files I have out here. So I might stop at a tool store tomorrow on the way, like Harbor Freight Tools, and just pick up a circular file that slowly gets bigger. I know they make them. That would be the easiest way to get this rounded out the way I want. Anyhow, done in the garage. Going to go back in and start working on something else. Oh, and some of you haven't seen Thunder Paws in a little while. Say hi, Thunder. Going to say hi tonight? Huh? What's this? Okay, not talking now. You usually talk to me. Definitely looking at the camera though, aren't we? Oh, run off, run off. Alright, there we go. Alright, I got these about wobbled out as far as I'm going to take them. They're all about the same diameter. I don't think they're 100% perfect, and I don't think that matters because I'm planning on frosting over the clear domes anyhow. I just need to get them on there where they emit light through and the clear domes can sit. Got to get them on here. Okay. So I'm going to take one of the clear domes out and see how they fit on there real quick, because I don't want to wobble that out too much there. That's sitting on there the way it's supposed to now. And I'm going to get a clear dome. Give me a second, so I'm going to set this down, because I have the clear dome sitting here on the desk ready for a test fit. I'm going to put it on there. And that's how that's supposed to look. Now, if you give me a minute, I'm going to give it power and see what it really looks like, because I'm curious. I want to see how that's going to end up looking. So give me a second. We'll give her some power.